Brown here. Abby Chin.
Jaylen, the team released what you guys are going to be wearing on the backs of your jerseys. I'm not sure if we've spoken to you. What have you chosen, and can you tell us why?
Before I get started, I want to continue to demand justice for Breonna Taylor. I want that to continue to be reiterated while I'm down here. Also, I want to encourage people in my community to get out and vote, not just for the presidential elections, but state representatives, elected officials, et cetera. I think there's a lot of power in coming together and voting, especially in the Black community. Politicians have made empty promises to the Black community year after year after year, and they think that is okay and acceptable, and it's not. So I want to emphasize that we got to continue to vote. We got to come together, use our power, utilize it in the right manner. And I want to inspire people in Georgia, where I'm from, Marietta, Gwinnett County, DeKalb County, Boston, Massachusetts, Dorchester, Roxbury, Oakland, East Oakland, West Oakland, wherever my influence reaches, I want people to continue to vote. There's a lot of power in exercising that, and we got to use it for sure. So I want to continue to emphasize that for sure. We got to get some of these guys out of office who don't care, who don't think it's appropriate that we are trying to end systemic racism. So I want to make voting the trend. I want to use my platform. I want athletes to come together and continue to talk about it while we're here. I understand the apprehension from the African-American community. Politicians have made empty promises as well as, people feeling like, why would I participate in the system or a political system that hasn't necessarily participated with me? But I believe in small victories and getting those guys, getting the right people in the office. A big part of that is voting. So let's continue to express that. Let's continue to lead in that direction. And I want to use my platform to inspire people who are using their influence, whatever color, whatever race, that voting is important. But especially in the Black community, let's exercise our power and get out and vote.
All right.
Ask the question again, Abby. I'm sorry.
The team released what you're going to wear on the back of your jersey. Can you tell us what you're going to wear and why along these lines?
I don't want to chime in on it too much yet. I guess we'll see come Friday. I'm still putting a lot of thought into it. It's not for sure decided. But one of the things that I participated in choosing is liberation. I feel like the list that we had to choose from was a little bit limited. I expressed that before, but liberation was what I chose from that list. I feel like the definition of liberation is, I guess, freeing yourself from a form of oppression, slavery, and or marginalization. And I feel like for me, I wanted to represent that this season, and try to break free of some of those cycles and some of those change.
Question in person for Gary Washburn.
Jaylen, have you thought about at all what you and your teammates might do prior to Friday's game in terms of making a statement? Will everybody go kind of individual? What's going into that thinking?
Just deciding and talking as a team. We're still putting a lot of thought into it, and nothing is completely decided. We definitely want to express ourselves in unison together, because that's what we are. We're a family, we're a brotherhood. So a lot of talk and discussion is still being going back and forth. And, hopefully, people understand whatever we decide to do is coming from a place of we're representing our community and people who feel the same way.
Jared Weiss.
Jaylen, going back to what you were saying about voting, has there been anything from a policy perspective or particular candidates that you wanted to highlight that you think that people should be thinking more about?
Not necessarily. I think people have the choice to choose who they believe in and who they feel represents them in an appropriate way. I just want to emphasize that voting needs to become a trend because people who we elect have the power to make decisions and put in policies that some people disagree with. So not just in the presidential candidacy, but our elected officials, our state representatives, people running for governor, mayor, like it's important. They're in place in these policies, and if you don't like them, you got to vote. So I want to make that a trend amongst athletes to use our platforms to inspire people to get out and vote, and especially in the Black community, because I know that isn't necessarily a consistent or common thing. But let's utilize our power and our influence to show that it's not okay for politicians to make empty promises or anything that consider to that. So it's not okay.
Question in person for Stephanie Reddy.
Jaylen, tell me a little bit about the impact that Allison Feaster has had on this team since she
Allison's been great. Allison's been that person that we can talk to, feel comfortable around, to address things. It's a lot of tension and a lot of uncomfortable conversations that are being had right now. And Allison has been the conduit for a lot of those conversations. Sometimes it's hard for players to express themselves. It's a lot of emotions that's involved with the community. It's a lot of emotions that's involved with how they feel and things like that. And a lot of people, and a lot of us get backlash for speaking because we are in a place of privilege, but most of us come from humble beginnings. So just because we reached this place of privilege, why should we forget about our relatives, our friends, people in our community that we grew up around? It is unfair. It's interesting how we're held to a certain standard, but some politicians or certain presidents aren't. So I want to continue to use my platform and speak positively on things that I see in my community. Continue to be a voice for voiceless, and Allison has been a great person to help us in that process.
Last couple of questions. John Corrales.
Jaylen, the NBA players, the WNBA, have rallied around the cause justice for Breonna Taylor. Can you explain a little more deeply why this has become a rallying point? What is the most important aspect of this? Why this is the message that you want to enhance?
Because it's important. I don't think it should even be a question, to be honest, why it's important to us. Like, we all come from our moms, we all have sisters, aunts, nieces, and et cetera. So not just with African Americans not feeling comfortable in this American society, it's a lot of women who don't feel comfortable as well. We want to continue to show our support with them for sure. So I had a call with Tamika Palmer, which is Breonna Taylor's mother, not too long ago. And it was emotional for me. The fact that she can get on a call with a bunch of NBA guys and utilize her strength in front of us. Like, we know she was hurting. We know, like, that was her baby girl that's gone. Like, her daughter was killed, and for her to be able to get on the phone call, exhibit that strength in front of us and rally us up and let us know that we don't want this to happen to the next girl or the next person of color or woman of color. I stand with her. I have a mom, I have nieces, and so do the rest of us NBA players. So it's hard listening to that and not feeling some type of way. And I think the rest of America is like, or certain, not the rest of America, but some people in America are like, oh well, like, she lost her life. Police were doing their job. Oh well. And this is not an oh well moment for us. So we're going to continue to emphasize justice for Breonna Taylor. I'm going to continue to emphasize voting, especially in the Black community, utilizing our power to come together for things that we believe in. And I'm not going to be quiet.
Final question for Jaylen. Gary Washburn.
You were born in '96, so a lot of things happened before you were born. But you've always been aware of the community and what's going on in the world. What kind of things have you learned or had to read up on and research over the last couple of months that you kind of maybe enlightened you about certain things that have happened, events? What kind of things have you learned?
That's a great question. That's a really good question, actually. I pride myself in my research and trying to come up here in front of you guys and be as thoughtful as I can. But there's definitely things that need to be addressed. I do a lot of research. I read a lot. I've taken classes on this, and I try to be considerate of how people feel. But at the same time, there's things that need to be addressed, and there's issues in this country that are being sidelined. The way this America was kind of designed, it wasn't designed inclusively. It was designed for a specific group of people. I know that kind of makes people feel uncomfortable to say that, but as it's not hard to believe that fast forward, rewind maybe 100 years ago, not less than 100 years ago, it was illegal for me, somebody that looked like me, to read and write. It was illegal for somebody that looked like me to be in some places after 6. This is less than 70 years ago, right? So now you fast forward to now, it's not too hard to believe that, there's still some systemic effects that have came to light how this country was designed. So I believe in reform. I believe in that we have to do policy change, and I don't want history to kind of repeat itself, and that's kind of what things is. So I just want to continue to use my platform. I'm only one person, but I want to continue to use my platform and hopefully inspire others to make the right decisions and to treat each other equally. And when I say equally, I mean it not in a pacified way, in a way that truly means equality.
Thank you, Jaylen.